Welcome to another CYF training course. This one is number 3 on our series on the importance of attachment, and this one is now how can I help a child who is suffering from insecure attachment, who has not been able to attach properly when they were children. Remember, we also in the last teaching we looked at the brain, and we saw that these children's brains are not functioning properly. Now, if a brain functions properly or not, you cannot tell. You cannot see it from outside. If somebody has a broken leg or a broken arm, you can see, you can tell, and you're not expecting that person to function properly, what we would call properly, because you know somebody with a broken leg is not going to run a marathon. But we don't see what is happening inside these children. We just see the symptoms of these children. We see how they are controlling. We see how they might try to push us away, how they don't like to look at us, to be touched, and how they are stealing and lying. And so we might just make our decision and say bad children, because we don't see the inside of these children. Now, I would really like to help you now to understand these children better and how to help these children. And the first thing is that you have to look at is you, yourself, and your team. If you yourself are not healed, if you yourself are still suffering because you were not able to really attach properly, if you cannot trust, you really need to work on that. Bring your own past to the Lord and spend time with Him. Be reconciled with your own past and with your history, because only then can you reach out to really, really hurting children, if you are at peace with your past. Otherwise, I can tell you, these children, they will find the button they need to push, that you will get angry. Because if you get angry at them, they have managed to push you away. They don't want you to come close. They're afraid of that. So they will try to find the button that they need to push with you so that you will not come close to them. And also it will just be a reconfirmation for them. Oh, I am bad. I am not lovable. I just proved it again. So look at your own past. Be reconciled. And then, to help these children, you cannot do it alone. You need a team. If you're a family, you're a team already. You, your husband or wife, your older children. You're already a team. Or maybe you're a team in your ministry, in whatever you are doing, be it an after-school club or whatever you're doing. As a team, you need to be in unity. You need to know how you want to reach out to these children. You need to know how together you want to help. So you're not competing for the love of these children. You are together to love these children, remember, unconditionally, and help them so that they can heal and that their brains can heal. And that's possible. And that they can learn to trust again. Children have 5 needs that we need to meet. They need security. They need significance. They need to know they are someone. Remember, they don't feel like they are someone. They need boundaries. And we talked about the importance of boundaries. The ability of us to say, no, you're not doing that. They need community, to be with others, to learn to be with others, and they need creativity. And sometimes for children who are not attached or have difficulties, creativity can be one way to learn, I am someone. Some children might have gifts that others don't have. Maybe they can write. Maybe they can rap. I've met a young man who grew up as an adopted child, and he's a rapper now. And so his gift is rapping or drawing. I knew a young man now, a boy. He failed in school because of all the problems with all his past difficulties. But one thing, he was better than the others. He was very good in drawing. And that gave him a real self-confidence. So creativity might be a way that we can help these children if we find ways that they can develop their creativity. I think for us as Christians, one thing that is also very, very important is to know that we can have the same future and the same hope that our Father has. In Jeremiah 29:11, he says that God has thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give us a future and a hope. And I think that's very important, that we have that for the children. We have that hope, even if it's difficult, even if they are pushing us away, but that we have that hope for them that the Father has for us. It is important that we understand the child and his condition, that they are not able to run the marathon, but we need to be aware that we are in for a marathon, that a child who is so severely hurt will not heal overnight, but it will take months, it will take years for such a child to heal. So we need to hang in there. If we know the background of the children that we are working with, if we know their hurts, if we know about the abuse they have suffered, we will have empathy for them. We will face a lot of different issues, and so the whole issues that we saw in the symptoms, children who are lying, children who don't like to be touched, who don't like to make eye contact. And we need to find ways for the children to overcome that. But the most important is for them to learn to trust, for them to learn that to be with us, they are safe. It is very important that we talk about it, that we express that they are safe. I know from one mother who worked with, who had adopted a little girl, and one day her girl didn't want to sleep and wanted the light on in the room, and she said, "Why? What is it?" She said, I'm afraid I don't want to sleep in the dark." And the mother said, "You don't need to be afraid. I am right outside your room. I will be there. I will defend you. I would never let anyone come into your room to harm you. Do you believe me?" And the child said, "Yes." And then the mother said, "Is it okay if I turn off the light?" And the child said, "Yes." Because she was learning to trust the adopted mother, and rebuilding trust in her life. So it's very important that we are aware that we need to rebuild trust in the children's lives. We need to tell them, we are there for you. We are not going away. You cannot push me away. I will stay. Let me share another little story of a young man. He had been in foster care, several foster homes. He behaved very badly. he was moved to another family and another family. And finally he said, nobody will keep me. And he started to make bets with himself how long that he would stay in one family before they would kick him out. And so again, he did something really stupid. He actually ended up on the police post, and he thought, that's it. I will be moved to the next family. And the police called his foster father and said, we have your son. And the father said, that's okay. Let him stay there overnight. I think he needs to learn a lesson. I'll come in the morning. And the next morning, he went there to pick up his new son. And the son thought, oh, he just came to bring me back to another foster home. And the father said, I told you, you are with us to stay. And that's what I mean. You're coming home. You will stay with us. And that was the beginning for that young man, for the healing of his past, for the healing of his emotions, for the healing and the rebuilding of trust in his life. That young man is an adult now, and he's leading his own little organization helping other teenagers like him who have experienced the same, who have not experienced good attachment. So the rebuilding of trust is the most important, and that will take time, and it will be, we will experience setbacks, but always holding on that the Father has a future and a hope for us, and we do have a future and a hope for the children. In order for the brain to heal, we need experiences. Experiences is not talking. I cannot say, don't do that anymore. This is bad, don't do it. That doesn't change the brain. We might have already tried to change habits, and we know that in order to change a habit or to learn a new good habit, we need to do something several times. Not just once or twice, maybe not even 5 times, but 10 times, 20 times, and then it becomes a new good habit. And it's the same with these children. In order for the brain to heal and relearn, children need to do things. They need to be told to do something. And I'd like to give you another example. A mother who had 2 daughters, and the older daughter had a really very disturbed, very anxious attachment because of early domestic violence. When she was small, there was a lot of domestic violence, and then later the mother divorced. But the damage, especially in the older daughter, was done. And it was very difficult. And the mother came to one of my trainings. And I said, and I shared that in order for the brain to heal, these children have to do things. For example, if they do something bad, hurt somebody else, you cannot tell them go and say, I'm sorry. They will do that, but they will not mean it. But in order for them to relearn and heal, ask them to do something to show that they feel sorry. And that can look differently. But in this case, I said, if the older girl hurts the younger girl, to do something together. And so the mother went home, and as so often, the older girl was really mean towards the younger girl, and the younger girl was crying. And then the mother thought, okay, what did I learn? And she went to the girl and said, you know, this was not right. You need to do something for your sister to make it okay with her again. And she gave her some options. She said, maybe the girl would, like, you can play together, and the girl said, I'm too old to play with my younger sister. And then the mother had to go away. She was called away, but then she came back, and when she came back, she saw that the two girls were actually sitting together at a table, coloring together and drawing together. And she said, I haven't seen that for a very, very long time, that my two girls were sitting together, doing something together. And she said that night, for the first time after a long time, she was sleeping like a baby, because she realized now she had a tool in hand to help not only her older but also her younger daughter. So we need to be able to help these children to learn to trust again, to have their emotions that are so badly damaged healed. And like I said, there are different ways. One, of course, is we need to acknowledge the emotions. We need to help them to express how they're feeling. Are you feeling angry, sad, or happy? We need to help them to get in touch with the emotions. We need to help them to rebuild their self-esteem, and maybe creativity could be a way to rebuild self-esteem. And they really need to learn to trust again, trust their family, and then trust the wider world. When it comes to the issue of touch, one way that might help, if a child doesn't like to be touched because they have experienced abuse, massages could be a good way, because a massage is always something that is announced. I'm not walking up to someone, giving somebody a massage. I will say, would you like to have a back massage or a foot or a hand massage? And then the child can decide, do I want it or not? And if the child decides I want it, the child is learning, oh, touch can actually feel good. Touch is not something that is bad. And also there I had an experience with a boy who was probably sexually abused at an early age, hated to be touched. And when he had back pains, the doctor prescribed massages. And after that, every evening he insisted he needed his massage, which we gave gladly, because we realized we are teaching him that touch can be a good thing. So we need to be creative too, not just the children, not just to the children, but in the ways we are reaching out. We need to be creative, but in all ways, finding ways to help the children to rebuild their trust. I just want to share a last saying that I found, where it says, every child who winds up doing well has had at least one stable and committed relationship with a supportive adult. So our challenge in all that is, are we willing to be that stable and committed adult in the life of the child? Not somebody who comes and goes, but somebody who says, I am here to stay, if you want it or not, but I am here to stay with you. And then children will be able to learn to trust, to learn to heal, and their brains can be restored. Also here you will find a few questions, again, to find out, have I identified children like that in my ministry? What could I do? How could I change the things I'm doing? Also, what about your team and about yourself?